Good morning, Chicago Cubs fans. We are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan, presented by FanArch. We are going to discuss the next most pressing questions. The Cubs sit right there at the tax threshold. Historically speaking, in these past few seasons, they have not done anything near that. They have not gone over. But recent history this century has shown that the Cubs, if they feel like they're in a position, they will go over that threshold. We're going to make the argument that they are going to do that in the beginning segment. We're going to talk about Nico Hoerner and how he will be staying put for now. And we have to give Tom Ricketts and Jed Hoyer their flowers. And we're going to discuss all the other free agents as well. So before we get into all that, just want to give everyone a big thank you once again. We hit the goal of 1,000 subscribers here on Cubs Daily, and that is just the beginning. All of you have made this possible. This has been an absolute blast these past 11 months, consistently making Cubs content for you guys. I've truly enjoyed it. I continue to want to get better at this. I want to bring you guys the best quality stuff that I can. Just remember, I am a fan as well. I am not a beat writer. I am not trying to find rumors. I'm just trying to read between the tea leaves, just like the rest of us, and I'm giving you guys my interpretation. So let's talk about it right off the rip, right? The big question that we all have to ask is, will the Cubs exceed that tax threshold in 26? There was a tweet today from Jesse Rogers, and he kind of answered a couple different questions for us Cubs fans, right? You know, yesterday's video, I talked about, okay, so is Nico Hoerner or Matt Shaw on the table in this situation? And, because obviously, Alex Bregman takes up third. He's the third baseman. There's no doubt about that. But, honestly, I kind of think about this team, and, you don't want to draw parallels to 2016, but someone made a great tweet earlier and, said, they have to trade Shaw, they have to trade Hoerner. Well, not necessarily. The Cubs had a really, really young, special 23-year-old super utility infielder. He actually won the NLCS in, the NLCS MVP, co-won it with John Lester, and that's Javi Baez. So, honestly, I think the Cubs could stay put. And, that also begs the question, right? What if there's a world where Bellinger does not get that 5-7-year deal? Apparently him and the Yankees are close, but the years on the contract are not doing it for each other. But then what if there's the angle of Kyle Tucker? And again, I don't think Kyle Tucker's coming back. I want to 100% say that. But maybe, the market is not what it looks like. He's kind of coming off a down year where he was hurt. And the Cubs are like, hey, we understand that it didn't work out, but come here, bat in this lineup, with the addition of Alex Bregman, plus Edward Cabrera to the rotation, plus a full season of Cade Horton, PCA more experienced, Michael Busch more confident. Come back, bat second in this lineup, extend that lineup even deeper, and let's go win a World Series together. 1 year, $45 million, do the deal. He comes back. Obviously, we're not guaranteed to win it, but I think that is the moment you go over the tax threshold. I think that is the moment you have to make that move. And, we're going to talk about it at the end of the video. I'm not sure how much they're willing to go over that tax threshold. But if they can get that right piece to plug into this, because I still think they're missing an outfielder. I'm not sure if Kevin Alcantara is really going to meet that need that we need. Cody Bellinger kind of feels like he's locked into wanting a multi-year deal. He kind of wants his final contract and wants to be done with it. Tucker might just be young enough you could sway him to do that. But it was earlier today, Jesse Rogers, he said on ESPN 1000 that Jesse Rogers believes the Cubs will go over the salary of the luxury tax and keep Nico Hoerner in the 2026 season, which is absolutely what you want to hear as a Cubs fan. And that was going to be the next talking point is, yes, are there rumors that Nico Hoerner could be traded? Yes, but let's take it from the right perspective, right? The Cubs are not calling teams to see what Nico Hoerner's value is. Teams are calling the Cubs to see if he's available and what that price would be. And I think we all understand as Cubs fans that his price is way too high. He's way too valuable to this team, especially if you are literally signing Alex Bregman, trading for Edward Cabrera, and wanting to be a committed winning franchise in 2026. You want to take the Central back from the Brewers, and you want to compete in the NLCS with the Dodgers for the right to go to the World Series. Nico Hoerner has to be a Cub. It just mathematically doesn't make sense. The Cubs might bother us to a core, ladies and gentlemen, but they're not that dumb. You got to give them some level of credit on that front. So I think Nico is staying put. I'm not sure if a contract extension is going to be reached during the season. I'm not sure how that's all going to look. But we have to also remember, right, that Nico Hoerner and Ian Happ, both their contract extensions when the Cubs gave it to them, those were in the middle of the season. So maybe get like a nice early May, June surprise. Nico Hoerner and Ian Happ, a couple of 3-year or a couple of 5-year, $100 million extensions for the both of them, kind of entering that new salary cap era. Because again, the bill would just be for this 1 year. You have so much money coming off the books, right? Shota Imanaga will be off the books. Seiya Suzuki will be off the books. I'm curious as to how much he's going to garner. Matthew Boyd's going to be off the book. You're going to get to really start nice. You're probably, if you really do this right, you could start in the salary cap floor range into the next one and really build your team around that properly. So, like I said, the Cubs aren't shopping Hoerner. Teams are calling. Yankees have called. The Giants originally called. I don't think it's much to do about anything in that sense. So we have to get to the man of the hour, the guy that we as fans have called out consistently for years to come now. And that's Tom Ricketts. And, is he a perfect owner? Absolutely not. But as also a Chicago Bulls fan, I can also say this. The grass isn't always greener, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we could want him to sell the team, and he might go sell to an aggressive owner, that wants to make it fun and buy the players. That would be great. But it's not like Steve Cohen's won a bunch of World Series either. It's not like there's no one try and true method to success in this game. And it's shown historically over the time how that goes. You gotta have a balance, right? You gotta be able to develop players, and you gotta be able to buy some players as well. And I think Tom is doing his best to blend that as a big market team. So again, he's heard us. He is investing in this 2026 team. Now, if he really wants to invest, he will smash that threshold, get close to that second threshold, and really bolster this offense. I think the pitching's good enough. Maybe go out and get another bullpen arm. Speaking of which, Cubs signed a guy from the Orioles today, Mr. Colby Martin. I think that's his name. He is a pitcher for the He was a pitcher for the Orioles. Corbin Martin. So the Cubs agreed to a minor league deal with Corbin Martin. He hits 96 on his fastball. Maybe another Brad Keller type situation. The Cubs see something with him, and they're excited about him. So people say look for him to kind of steal that that eighth reliever spot in the bullpen as well. So back to Tom though. Tom, dude, well done. You've got me. I was never out. I was never out necessarily, but I am beyond pumped for 2026 and what this offense could potentially do. I think Alex Bregman, a lot of people are saying he's not a good fit. I think he's a really sneaky good fit for this offense. I think there's a little banking on, PCA taking a step forward and Michael Busch taking a step forward as well. But I don't think that's a problem. I like that. I like putting a little more pressure on these young guys to perform and bring something to the table. Not that they did last year, but again, last year was house money with those guys in that sense. What PCA gave us last year in the first half, I don't know if he'll ever duplicate that again. But if he could duplicate the statistical numbers he had throughout this whole next season, we're going to be a really good ball club. And I like the way they said the floor on this team is absolutely raised to the next level. 90 wins should be the expectations for this team, given its pitching staff, given the core that's in place. And again, tip my cap to you, Mr. Tom Ricketts. You did a very, very fine job. And Jed Hoyer, of course, and Carter Hawkins, etc., etc. So who else is out there, and who would you guys be willing to go over the cap for? That's going to be my next question that I have here. So let's bring up the available free agents still on Spot Track. Okay, so obviously we know our man Cody Bellinger, Jordan Montgomery, who was really solid last year. He got hurt, and the Cubs, the Brewers kind of ate his contract. The Cubs don't need another starting pitcher, but man, just that throw him in for depth reasons, it's sneaky in my opinion. Obviously, Chris Bassett was the name we've been attached to. We know those big pitchers like Framber Valdez. Who else am I thinking of? Not Justin Verlander. But Zach Gallen's still out there as well. It says Shota Imanaga, but he is a Cub. We all know that. Like Ranger Suarez, right? So there's some big pitchers out there still. But let's talk bats, okay? You guys know we're here. I think our pitching's pretty set, unless we want to go get that big time reliever. And Cody Bellinger's an intriguing name. There's no doubt about it. But what about a bat like Starling Marte, like a right-hander off the bench? He's 37 years old. If he's really only a $7 million player, it's not too bad in my opinion. Like Rhys Hoskins is a very intriguing name to me as well. And again, this guy right here, Kyle Tucker. I know the Cubs aren't going to sign him, but I would splurge the $39.940 million to get him in. Throw him out there just to make this lineup just scary, beyond scary, in my opinion. Paul Goldschmidt is an intriguing backup option at first. I know we got that Austin Tyler kid, but I'm not too sold on him. But maybe the Cubs see something. I don't know. Max Kepler, he just got suspended 80 games. That's not going to work. Eugenio Suarez, we have no need for him. Jesse Winker is an interesting option as well. I heard the Cubs might try and sign Willie Castro back to like a minor league deal, but if it's at all true he's going to get $10 million, he will not be back with the Cubs. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, kind of just a lot of nothing, ladies and gentlemen. There's two options in right field if you want to just put this team over the top, and they're easily the second best team in the National League, and their name is Cody Bellinger and or Kyle Tucker. The other options are kind of just plug and play guys. Like Rhys Hoskins would be an interesting lefty-righty split with Michael Busch, but again, we got that guy from Japan. Marcell Ozuna is an intriguing option as a DH. We know he can hit the baseball really well. I know he's had that checkered past, but again, if we're just talking strictly numbers with Marcell Ozuna, then, this might be not the worst move in terms of baseball only. I'm not talking about the person. I'm talking about baseball. But again, ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about this kind of stuff, the person matters too. I think the Cubs really do value, quality character people in the organization. But again, like you said, right, 302, 274, kind of up and down. But I know he can hit. I know Marcell Ozuna can hit, and I think he would pose a real threat in that lineup. So there's some other names out there, guys. Drop them in the comments. A nice, $1 to $15 million free agent you think the Cubs could sign. Willing to pay that a little extra, but might put this offense over the top. But obviously, the obvious answers are Cody Bellinger and Kyle Tucker. That's who they need to, if they really just want to say F it and go for it in 2026 and kind of keep what we have left of our farm system intact. Gonna have to sign one of those right fielders. Even if it's on a one-year prove-it deal, I think it'd be a lot of fun. But otherwise, that's going to do it for today's edition of Cubs Daily. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your continued support. Let's keep the train rolling. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll be back tomorrow with another one. Peace.